Hey guys, it's Screamuts here with another tutorial for the MB Academy. Today I'm looking at drum and bass drums, hard-hitting Neuro drums for example, and we did some snares the other day, sounding something like that. So very hard-hitting, very aggressive, and that's what we were going for. And now I want to tell you how I would go basically about creating the rest of the drum loop. So diving right in, I would probably take some noise as hats here. So we're taking some noise, and I have some noise that I called shaker noise because I really love using it for shakers. And then we could use something like shaper box to shape that. So we're going to MIDI here to sync, and then we're gonna click on 1/4. You can tell it already sounds almost like a hat, especially within a context of drum bass. I'm just gonna sidechain that real quick to make some other point very clear. Make a very small sidechain for kicks and a bigger sidechain for snares. And that is because you got a transient here and you got noise here, and the noise shares a lot of the same frequencies as the snare does actually. And the same goes for the kick, just the kick shares less frequencies, but only the first part of the kick, which is the transient, will share some frequencies with the noise. The best thing is to sidechain that. Let's listen before and after. The thing is, it's a very small difference that you're hearing right now. It's not the biggest difference ever, but the more elements you got in your mix, the crazier the difference is gonna be. And the more you sidechain, the less it's gonna affect the punchiness of your drums. And therefore your drums are gonna sound punchy throughout the whole mix. No matter what I'm gonna add to this track, I don't want the drums to sound less punchy. So that's the way I go about it. I sidechain everything just a little bit to the kick and the snare, and at least to the transient, so they can breathe, and that's what ultimately gives it the heaviness. I think to make noise a little bit more realistic is to give it a bit of a reverb. So I put a reverb on a send and put a Pro Q after that, so that there's no unwanted frequencies in there. And then you can also take out some of those frequencies. And depending on your preference, you can make that more attacky or just generally sharper. But for Neuro, these kind of like big hats are quite popular. And what I really love doing with those is adding, for example, an auto pan on those. To make them really sharp. And there's also another way to do that. You can use the ring modulator. Really depends what you prefer. I think the auto pan is a bit cleaner, but the frequency, the ring modulator leaves a little bit more of the original sound. So I'm gonna go with the ring modulator right now. Let's maybe turn that reverb down just a tiny bit. And now we're gonna remember to copy that utility, and yes, also put it on the reverb. In my opinion, you should also put it on the reverb. I copied everything else, sorry. Because then, because the snare and the transient also goes through there, and it goes into the master, and then it's still gonna be lying on top of the transients. So to sidechain that, just to make sure that doesn't happen and our drums stay sharp. And now at this point I will probably go just to use some regular hi-hats.
Baby, you cry.
Yeah, maybe something like that. And now copy that sidechain again, even to that. And maybe with that one a little bit less, because you kind of want it to sound a little bit stabby. So you can just sidechain less out. Than you would on the big splashy ones. And then you got it. I also like putting Neuro drums into groups, putting, for example, some glue compression on it. Right, really make it gritty. There's already some on it. So we're taking that off, but we're taking it, putting it on the whole group. Always when I do some of this compression, I'm taking out some of the tops. And I feel like it's they are a bit too long now, the hats, so maybe. Play around with how long you want them to be. But now the transients aren't suffering, and we got really massive sounding aggressive drums because we made room for all the elements. And then kind of to top it off, to give it that Neuro feel, I would like resample one of the snares and make a bit of a typical Neuro style shuffle. Make it a bit smaller again, and a bit different each time. Lower in volume there, a bit even lower in volume there, and so on. Then you got yourself a Neuro loop. That's really hard hitting, every element is coming through and sounding nice and tight and aggressive. Yeah, hope you liked that one, and see you in the next video.